Hey everybody, this is Todd Lusheen. I'm the outgoing Region 5 Vice President, and this is made for the regional officers or the regional management team, and also all of the outgoing chapter officers and the incoming chapter officers for Region 5. So the purpose of this video, one is I had hoped to make one of these every month over the last 3 years, didn't do it. We're nearing the end of the 2023-2024 chapter year or society year, and I just wanted to provide you with some information and resources to help you with this transition, because as we end one year and begin another, there's always an opportunity to learn from the previous year and make a plan so that things will be more successful, less stressful for you. So I'm going to go over some resources through the ASSP website. You know, we've been inundated with emails, and we talk about it in ROC meetings. But I wanted to create something that kind of contains everything that you guys can at least get in and learn enough to be dangerous. I'm going to talk about some due dates because they sneak up on us. And then I'm going to give some parting tips, recommendations, sage-like advice, if you will. I do know that as chapter leaders, volunteer chapter leaders, I should say anything we do, it does feel like we're drinking out of a fire hose. In this case, a fire hydrant. And so what I want to do is go through a few things and really help you out. So first and foremost, think of what's really important, what I really want you to take away from this, and that is to set annual goals. Plan out your year. I've listened to you all for the last 3 years, and it seems like when there is a standard time and place to meet, it makes it easier for people. Not everybody can make it every month. Some people can't make it at all. So find alternative ways to get them the information and provide access. But I do like consistency. I think everybody kind of likes consistency. As far as goals, I really want you guys to think about what have we accomplished? Make sure we can repeat those successes. But for the opportunities that were missed, what could we do? What could we do to try and achieve them this year? I do want you all to be meeting regularly and talk about these goals you've set for the chapter, for yourselves. Include regional management, or regional leadership is what I should say, not management, leadership. And then you may have to reassess some of them as you go. But it's better to modify a goal and achieve it than to keep it out of reach, right? Next is, I want to make sure that you are always thinking about how you're providing value to the members, particularly now where people are having difficulty finding time to participate. And some are losing management or their employers' support for membership dues. And so if we can find ways to provide better value to them, that hopefully will keep them engaged. Also, make sure you guys are tracking your financials. We've got some chapters that have a lot of money, and we're supposed to be providing value opportunities for our members, and just to be saving money for the sake of saving, I think that's something that needs to be discussed with the next, regional chapter leadership. Is sure, we want to have enough there to cover what we want to cover for our members, but there really isn't much of a need to have a big savings. What are you trying to do? So talk about that. We discussed it in the last ROC meeting, and I've been thinking about it ever since. And then finally, and sometimes we forget to do this, is to show appreciation to those who do show up. We should be celebrating our accomplishments. We should be recognizing those that go above and beyond. And I really think that's how a lot of our chapter successes, it comes from individuals just putting in extra. What's the difference between ordinary and extraordinary? That little bit of extra. Anybody who's seen the movie Waiting knows what I'm talking about. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of go through the pictures for what I want to show you and how to get to the resources. So first, when you're on ASSP.org, click on the tab Membership, and then click on Community Leadership Resources. I tried for a good half hour to screenshot the drop-down menu, but it keeps disappearing when I try to do a screenshot. But when you open it, there's different things you can click on. Click on community leader resources. You will need to sign in. Hopefully you remember your username and password. If not, just follow the prompts and you can reset it. Once you get in to the community leadership resources, didn't mean to do that. Thought I could scroll it. Click on chapters. There's common interest groups, practice specialties, and if you were part of that and didn't know these things existed, please go ahead and check that out. But for my chapter leaders and for my area directors, for the regional board, click on the chapters. When you do, you have this list over here on the left. Leadership roles, where you can find out what is expected from the different roles, and there's a lot of them. You can look at section and student section leadership roles, similar to the chapter, but targeting the section. Similarly for RVP and the area directors, and it's got tools there as well. There's leadership training, which all of you need to go through this for whatever role you're coming into. But in addition to that, there should be a clear transition that the outgoing person is able to share some of their accomplishments, some of their missed opportunities, so you can take it and run with it. Should be a smooth transition, not an abrupt. There's also things for membership engagement, chapter management, which is very good. There's some good stuff there. Communications, government affairs, toolkit, chapter quick links. So all this stuff, I'm going to go over some of the highlights. First and foremost are the key dates. And when it comes to annual planning, you have to have key dates, right? This is what we have going on. We get something due in 3 months. It takes a lot of time to do. Let's start working on it so that we're not waiting until the day before and then stressing out. So here are last year. So this list of dates will update mid-July. Mid-July, I think, is what they had said. But some of them remain kind of as standard. Others will flex. So the next one is June 30th. I believe today is like the 9th. It's a 6th. Jeez, getting my horse here. So we've got a little bit of time, but everybody's comp report is due. The chapter operations management tool, it's all of your work is due by June 30th. And so, yeah, if you haven't been keeping up with it, get going with it. We spend a lot of time breaking down, talking about the comp, and really what it is, it's meant to be a guide that, if you do these things, you should be providing a good value to your chapter members. You should have a semi-solid recruitment plan for bringing in new leaders. You should be, building, growing is really what it's all about. And so it shouldn't be I'm going to cram at the end and then take the exam. It should be something you look at every month as part of your chapter meetings. And so if you haven't, boom, there's the first thing you want to do. So once you get past that, and that is the final day of your, if you're an elected leader, it's the last, if it's annual, the end of 3 years or 2 years, whatever it is, July 1st is when the new ones step in. But you need to be part of the planning for what needs to be submitted by August 15th, which is the annual operational plan. And it does need to be uploaded and put into the comp report. If you're one of the chapters that had over $50,000 in revenue, you need to file your taxes. The last is, otherwise it's a receipt. So June 30th, so start now. Make sure you get the comp as completed as possible. Make sure you're checking all the boxes, dotting the I's, crossing the T's. Review it with your outgoing chapter leaders, but at the same time, plan a day or multiple days in July to go through the transition. And that is, you're going to talk to the person who's coming into your role and help them, go through the training we're going to look at in a little bit. You may be promoted to another role or accepting a different role, in which case you're going to meet with the person who's going out, and then you're going to go through the training as well. And then as a group, once you've gone through the transition, really talk about the planning for the next year. Put some dates down. Try to select some topics. You may even have some speakers you want to bring in. If you want to try something new, maybe block off times throughout the year that you're going to try something new, a tour, a specialized training. We're going to meet at a regional or state or local conference or something. If you're going to have a PDC, start planning it. All those things. Make sure the rock meetings get on your schedule as well. I'm going to cover that in a little bit. And then throughout the year, there are other things you can do as well. There's deadlines for the regional SPY. That was February 1st. Elections begin, society elections begin March 1st. So there's a lot of things that are going to be added to your things to make sure. And if you don't write it down, then you kind of forget about it until something becomes due. So what should you do with this? July 1st is the start of the new leadership role. So definitely go through and meet with outgoing, ingoing leaders. I think it takes more than one time. One time would be sort of the transition, the reflection. The next one should be planning. I really think it needs 2 meetings. And everybody should somehow be able to participate and attend. You need everybody's input. So again, host the meetings, reflect on accomplishments, missed opportunities, create the annual operations plan, transition training as well. And then also make sure you're updating and meeting with your RVP and your AD, your area director. The next tab down was chapter leadership roles. So here, if anybody wants to read what OSHA, yikes, what ASSP, I hope I haven't said that before, what ASSP has for the role description, go ahead, you can take a look at that. For the regional team, they have these as well, and I believe they've been updating the area director one, if I'm not mistaken. Here is some of the training. This is where you can get the on-demand training guides for chapter president, vice president, president, and this is the long list. It goes and goes and goes. And so reviewing the roles and responsibilities and going through the training for the position you're going into is important. Okay? And there's other stuff here as well. And I invite everybody to spend a little time playing around in there. These are different activities, tools, resources, partnerships that you can do for engaging members. Engaging members, it has 2 advantages. One is it improves the value of membership. Did I say 2? 1, it does that. 2 is it may actually get someone excited about volunteering. So it's a recruiting mechanism as well. For managing your chapter, so the key dates we just looked at, that document will be updated mid-July, I believe. You can actually look up chapter rosters, and they want you to do it on a monthly basis. There are chapter financial forms, the comp tool, chapter nominations and elections resources, chapter bylaw resources, guidelines, policies. But I'm going to go over a lot of these because under the managing your chapter probably has the most amount of stuff you're going to use throughout the year. So here is, if you want to get the chapter roster, you log in, you go under my account, you go under my groups, and depending on what you told society is your role, that will dictate what you have access to from a roster perspective. So if you're, the secretary for the Badgerland chapter, you're only going to have access to Badgerland chapter members, people who have been designated as Badgerland chapter and have, either not checked the box or checked the box that you can contact them. And so, those change throughout the year depending on when somebody signed up because everybody's on their own annual basis or annual cycle. So follow this and then you can download, and there's a special thing you need to do to download into Excel versus just a PDF. Important notes. The stuff you do, you make sure you delete your old one that you had used before. They don't want you that to be stored around in case somebody broke in. They could get personal information. Always download a new roster every time you need to access information about your chapter members. And it's typically for communications. And you should have a communications policy as well. For financials, this is primarily for the treasurers, but I think it's good for all board members to be aware of the financial report, which was due May 30th or 31st. Here are the forms, and there are more forms as well down below here, but this whole tab is chapter financials. And also it has information about taxes. So if your chapter has higher than $50,000 in revenue, you're supposed to be filling out your own tax forms. I think some of us were confused on what it depends on the amount we have in checkings or savings or stuff like that, but it's said on the thing revenue, okay? So if you have a big PDC that brings in over $50,000, that's revenue, not profit. You may have to fill something out. Uh, what is this? This is the chat. This is the comp tool. If you're listening to this, you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know anything about this. Well, start here and get some information. Each chapter has a specific individual link to get into their chapter online comp tool to fill things out, upload things. If for some reason you need it, you can contact me or Jim Nelson or Becky Severson, and we can provide that to you. If you don't want to talk to us, you can also email Jerry Galanka at Society, and she can generate it too. But we all have the links because Jerry sends us updates when people haven't met deadlines, and then you'll see emails or phone calls, things go out to chapter leaders from us reminding you that things need to get done. But we've spent a lot of time talking about comp, so I didn't want to spend too much time on this. For those of you that are new, ask your team members, because we have covered it extensively at the ROC meetings, the Regional Operations Committee meetings. For the election process here, succession planning is really important. That's what I've been talking about. Is right now, between now and August 15th, is a very important time. It kind of dictates how successful, how much your chapter will improve, and your stress levels, if you can plan things out. And so there are worksheets here, training and things like that. So I've covered a majority of it already. If you need to read the standard operating guidelines, or they call them SOGs or SOGs, you can find them here. There's also a code of professional conduct. And if you're going to be running meetings, you might want to take a quick look at this summary of Robert's Rules of Order. I actually just stumbled across this morning. I didn't know it was here, and I'm going to be reading these and memorizing these now too. Chapter forms, there's other stuff here that you can look at in case you need your certificate of insurance, officer badges, swag, whatever it might be. You can find it here. There are other communications resources you can use. This talks about web hosting packages, setting up meetings through, and now I forget the name, it's not on the screen. But there's virtual backgrounds. So there's a lot of information here to help you, look more official when you send out communications to your members. Wish I had known about that before. And then there's finally, chapter quick links that you can take a look at, how to get CEUs, certificate of attendance, badge template, things like that. There's a lot of stuff here. So I really think, after looking through all this, and this presentation, I've spent about 4 hours today putting together this PowerPoint with screenshots and reading things. And I wish I had done it sooner. Maybe I could have, over the last 3 years, kind of touched on pieces of this as we go through. But really, this stuff is for you all. It wouldn't have really benefited me, but it would have helped, I think, some of you make things a little bit easier. And so, it maybe if there's someone who's young and excited, maybe you could have them break this all down, turn this into like a chapter plan or something like that. Okay, so we're nearing the end here. I'm almost at 19 minutes. And so some of the takeaway lessons. So, I just threw a lot at you. There's a lot of information there. But let's go back to really what we should be focusing on, and that is you need to be planning out some leadership meetings. This is the transition, call them succession, planning meetings over the next 45 to 60 days so that you can submit your annual operational plan by August 15th. And that everybody has been trained. They've covered the stuff. They know what they need to do. Dates have been set up for meetings and going to ROC meetings and going to local things. There's a lot that needs to be acquired. And that calendar is not, cut in stone. It should be something you can update and review on a monthly basis. And you all should be at least meeting to review a few things on a monthly basis. And it's great if you can do it virtually, because then maybe you can invite your area director and your RVP. Every ROC meeting, I'd say, please invite me, but I really only attend a few because they are the ones who invite me on a regular basis. And it was always virtual. It's hard to drive, especially when we're all so busy. Make sure you involve your RVP and area director in this stuff. Again, I'm going out, so it's going to be your new guy. Make sure you're working on the annual plan, and try and just do a little bit at a time. Don't try to do all at once. You'll exhaust yourself. Just keep reevaluating what your goals and plans are and update them. Make them realistic. So, who is the incoming RVP? Jim Nelson. I've got him on the screen here. I tricked him into putting on a cheese hat when we were at Lambeau Field in the pro shop, and I did it on purpose because I was going to use it for a presentation. So I've got a lot of photos. This one's pretty funny. Jim has been advising me this whole time. He's been an area director for Area 2. He is fantastic. He's going to do it way better than I did. Yeah, because he's got great ideas. He's a great leader, natural leader. I feel like a bumbling fool next to him. So you guys are going to be in great hands, way better hands than what you were. The next ROC meeting is being hosted by both Northeast Iowa and Quad Cities chapters. From what I remember, the site has not been selected yet. I think they had talked about like a city in between, the north and the south on the east side. The dates are travel on the 25th. Usually, for those of you who aren't familiar with the ROC, we usually travel during the day on a Wednesday and try to get in. And sometimes we arrive early and do like a tour. Otherwise, we try to get together for dinner and socializing. The Thursday, which would be the 26th, will be a full day. Wrapping up with like a tour, usually. Like at 2 in the afternoon, and then we have dinner together and again socialized. And then on the 27th, it's usually a half a day. We get up and we kind of review some of the things from the day before. That's when I liked it when the chapters would then break off and meet with their area directors and plan things out. And then we usually, call it end 11 o'clock, 11:30, 12 o'clock on Friday so everybody can travel home. So it's a 3-day commitment, including the half days on Wednesday and Friday for travel. Each chapter, what you guys really need to do is get this on your calendar. There should be at least one board member from your chapter attending, and maybe one either new or upcoming. So it would be nice if every chapter sent 2 people. One, somebody who's in a leadership position, and it should be almost an appreciation, for the work you've been putting in. You get to go to this ROC meeting, and they're really fun. And you get to socialize, get to know other people. You have great ideas. But then bring someone who is like brand spanking new, never been a part of it, so they can learn and get excited. Because maybe they'll be the next leader in your chapter. Chapters are responsible for the travel and stay expenses for their representatives. The region will reimburse the hosting chapters a certain amount. I can't remember what we voted on. I think it was like $5,000. So you have a budget if you're going to be hosting the ROC, and it goes from Area 1 to Area 2. This fall is Area 2, so spring will be Area 1. And I can't remember if they were going to try and fix it because I think our balance got off, but Jim's in charge of that. He'll take care of it. Good. You guys are in really great hands. So let's reflect here. Some of the things that I feel that I've accomplished, you may or may not agree with me, is I think we have actually thrived since the pandemic. I think there are still entities and organizations that just never were able to make it back. I think we are back, and I think we're in a better position now. I had been to ROC meetings prior to me coming into this position, like when I was a chapter. I was a chapter secretary, treasurer, VP, president-elect president for the Wisconsin chapter. I don't know if you can see it. I've got my platinum up behind me. And I went to a few of the ROC meetings, and I was just like, you threw a lot at me, but nothing stuck, but it was fun. It was social. I wanted to make the meetings more interactive, in which I do a minimal amount of talking. Everybody else kind of shares what they're doing. And I think that generated a lot of great discussion and a lot of great ideas. And I'm looking forward to seeing, those come to fruition here over the next few years with Jim at the helm. Last is I took a deep dive into the COMPT. I analyzed it really deeply to better understand what everybody's doing and how to document it. And by discussing that at the ROC meetings, I think we all became gain a little bit more expertise in how to use it and what it means. That it's not this scary thing that we should be afraid of because we have to fight it once a year, but rather it's our friend and we use it throughout the year. Some things that I was not able to accomplish, and this would be, again, this is sort of my transition, succession planning to Jim. I really wish that I had been able to find the time to update and continually update the Region 5 website. I always wanted to. It just kept getting put on the back burner with how busy I've been with work and everything else. I feel really bad about that. Actually, I do. I had really wanted to create a regional newsletter so that I could deliver updates from society to all the chapters, and then also chapters could share amongst themselves. Never really got that going. We discussed it the last rock. I hope Jim is able to do some of these things. I think greater communication, greater sharing between the chapters in the region would make everything easier on everybody, and I think it'd be fantastic. And I feel bad that I wasn't able to actively connect with the sections, and especially the student sections. I had really hoped to, you know, reinvigorate, you know, basically the universities, the degree students, the college students. But man, it's really hard. I know how busy the faculty advisors are because I was one, and I'd really hoped to do that, but I wasn't able to. Yeah, that's one that I'm not gonna ask Jim to try and do. We have to figure out this dilemma. I'm not sure what the answer is. Yay, we're finally at the end. And then yeah, I think we'll leave it here. I'm not going to go on and start touring through the website. I'm going to let you guys do that. I'll create another video if you guys tell me to. I don't even know if anybody's going to watch this anyway. This is a picture I snapped. You can see my windshield with all the bugs. So this was, I can't remember if it was September or October, but the Hawkeye chapter hosted their rock meeting in fall of 2022, and I drove over. And there was just a beautiful sunset. And I thought that was an appropriate, other than the bug splatter. Actually, that makes it more appropriate that I'd use this bug splatter on the windshield, sure, but this beautiful sunset as I'm leaving the position. But I'm not going far, you guys. You guys know that I'm transitioning into an at-large member of the board of directors for society. So I've already begun my onboarding, and if anybody ever has questions about how can I get more involved, or if you guys need help with things, talk to Jim or your area directors like Becky or whoever's going to be coming in. Oh, that's right. With Jim moving from area director to RVP, there's going to be a special election for an area 2 director. And so I'm really looking forward to find out who applies and how that goes. So I think there'll be a slate to vote on here very soon, hopefully in July. But special acknowledgements, Jim for sure, because he's been there. Becky has been amazing as the new Area 1. Gosh, I can see the guy who left, and I can't remember his name now. Shoot. Chris Flagel has always been there for me, encouraging me. He's the regional treasurer. He's been amazing. Joanna Wilson, she's been the secretary, but she's been amazing too. She does not get enough recognition for how much she does for the region. Carrie has been amazing. I hope to see her continue to rise, because she's got a lot of energy and great ideas. Great leader, natural. Derek has been there too. He has come to me and talked to me, and he, after he transitions out of his president role, I see opportunity for him too. And then we've got, the people who put a smile on my face. Cody, you've always put a smile on my face. Scott too, and Jeff Bowers, a recent, addition to my friend sphere. But all of you guys, I thank everybody for all of your support and friendship and everything like that. And again, I'm not like leaving. I'm transitioning into a new role, but I can still be here to help you all out. And so I just want to thank everybody for volunteering. I want to thank you all for listening. This has gone longer than I thought, but go to the website, look at the resources, meet. The incoming and the outgoing officer should all meet. Involve your area director and RVP. And plan out this next year. It'll make things so much easier for you. And then as you go, you modify those goals, modify the dates as you need, but try to stick to an aggressive plan. Shoot for the stars and then adjust, right? So again, thank you all. I hope to see you all in Denver in August. That'd be fantastic. But if not, I'll catch you all on the flip side.